wind's kicking up. Hi, how you doing? We're going to fly this right up until it gets too windy.
They'll fall off the brakes and go in my pocket.
Total oil use system. When you put oil in this, it goes mixes with the gasoline and it burns in the engine. And they use castor oil because it doesn't burn. Castor oil, if you remember, was used if you were sick. It gives you the runs.
Yeah, I remember my grandmother having to drink that stuff at one point.
Yes. So it is. There's stories that they landed behind enemy lines in World War I for medicinal purposes. After you inhale this stuff for a few hours flying it, you have a little problem. So, but it's a total oil use system. The whole engine turns, and the crankshaft is hooked to the airplane. The engine spins with the propeller. Very messy. And that's what the cowling was for. And the exhaust, actually, it's timed so that the exhaust ports out the bottom and carries all the excess castor oil with it. That's why the airplane's such a mess. Fly it for a short time, it's just covered with oil.
Where should we go?
That was the intake and exhaust valve?
Yes, sir. The exhaust just dumps straight out. The intake is the side with the top of the pipe.
That's the push rod there?
Yes, that opens and closes the valve. That runs the rocker assembly.
That's it. That's all air cooled?
Yes, sir. That's actually why these airplanes use these engines, because they had a serious, and back in that time period, they had a serious weight to horsepower ratio problem. Most of the engines had big, heavy water jackets. This was one of the most effective engines for the amount of pounds. They are right up to 160 horsepower engine. The problem was they couldn't get really much more than that because then they had to make the cylinders bigger, and the torque. You almost couldn't turn the airplane the opposite way to torque. There's so much mass in this gyroscopic effect. And once they went to more horsepower, it was throwing jugs off. The weight was just too severe to spin. And the magneto was right behind it. It also gets castor oil on it and fouls. So you have to really kind of be careful. Clean it before and after everything. All set?
Yeah. That's easy to accomplish. This only has a 22-minute flight.
That's about it. Yeah.
What happens after that?
Comes out. That's it.
Oh, is that just because it just runs out of fuel?
Well, I can put a bigger tank, I guess, in it. This actually was a two-passenger airplane. Let me know when you're ready. I just need about 24 gallons. Are you ready?
Yeah.
How many pumps per gallon?
Castor oil is great lubricant, doesn't tend to break down with the fuel so much. You can see the whole engine turning with the propeller. Right now they're drawing raw gasoline to all 9 cylinders. You see the little copper inlet tube that runs from the center crankcase to the top of the cylinder. That is how the mixture gets into the cylinder. Swinging about an 8-foot wooden propeller. Really, the engine didn't turn very fast, but it's swinging great big propeller that was very, very efficient. They moved a lot of air. Here we go. 80 horsepower, Lee Rowan, a rotary engine. you. There, she got it. The pilot is actually cutting the ignition on and off. Although you can throttle the engine, for the most part they're running full power, and they just cut the ignition on and off, slow down the airplane, especially for landing purposes. Sounds like we've got 8 out of 9 cylinders firing. We have 1 cylinder now. We'll give the car a little flight the length of the runway. We won't go around the field with it, but we should get a nice top the length of the runway. And we'll file it yourself. But you'll see on your cylinder, you'll see the gas oil running down the wing, running down the wing here. So get your jammers ready. We'll give you a nice flight to the length of the runway with a 1913 Caudron C3. And it looks like he is ready to go. Even on 8 cylinders he'll fly. Back in the late 1980s, there was a documentary series called First Flight on the early years of aviation. It was hosted by Neil Armstrong. Every episode started with Neil Armstrong right here in Old Rhinebeck, sitting at the Caudron C3. He spent about 3 days here, then he was opportunity to meet the first person to walk on the moon. The colors of aircraft from an Italian artillery reconnaissance and observation squadron, which is used for the most. Although back in 1821, this airplane is already 10 years old or so, and there are much better airplanes available. This is just ABM Bologna. About a 10-year run. The rotary engine will go to the best aircraft that is available. Very, very good. 2 or 3 airline routes.